Hello all, welcome to TechUcity. This is Vim tutorial part 1 and my name is Abhijit. In this tutorial we are going to discuss about the basics of Vim, like what is Vim, starting Vim, and some basic navigation commands. Now the way this tutorial is structured, where I will showcase the capabilities of Vim and I will also practically show you the capabilities of Vim. I would use graphical Vim and sometimes I will use our console Vim. The reason for using GVim or graphical Vim sometimes, and the reason to use console Vim sometimes is to showcase you all the commands and show the differences between the two consoles. How do they look and how do they render, etc. Now let us start with our basic discussion here as to what is Vim. Vim is first and foremost a text editor, just like your Notepad, Notepad++, or any other modern tools, editors like Atom, Sublime, etc. Vim is highly efficient. It is good for editing. Unlike other tools, other editors, where you use the editor primarily for creating the files and you have some regex capabilities like searching and replacing characters, Vim goes much more beyond that. So it's highly efficient for editing. Vim is very stable and it's still continuously being developed. Now, one of the reasons that you might want to consider learning Vim is Vim is something which comes by default on your Linux or Unix consoles. If you have any flavor of Linux like Ubuntu or Red Hat, you would find that Vim is there in the shell. All you have to do is invoke Vim and start using it. Right. Now, there is a driver behind this as to why you want to use Vim. Why not use any graphical environments? Well, as I said, it's a very powerful text editor. It goes beyond simple editing. It can do miracles when you're typing or editing your text files. Remember, the text files, it is not meant for the binary files like Excel and Word, and it has got a lot of inbuilt capabilities like recording macros, abbreviating your text, formatting, or even using the your Vim editor as a programming IDE. I would say not IDE, but something like an editor where you can format your code. You can see your color coding on the screen, and in environments like Linux or Unix, where sometimes you do not have graphical capabilities, you don't have GUI on your operating system, then Vim is the de facto standard. Then Vim is something which is very crucial for you to learn. Now, a lot of people feel Vim is very difficult to learn. However, that is not the case if you learn the fundamentals. Now, that is what is the aim of this tutorial, guys. First of all, we'll explore what Vim is, and then we'll look into how do you go into utilizing the Vim or using the Vim so that you don't have to memorize the commands. Okay, Vim has extensive plugin system, and it has powerful search and replace feature, which we are going to see in next coming sessions. The way this tutorial is structured, guys, I would urge you to look at all the playlists, the entire playlist, one after the another. No, it doesn't matter if you go in a sequence or not. Of course, going in the sequence makes a lot of sense. However, complete the whole playlist in order to get most benefit out of this tutorial or training. Okay, so some of the things before we even start Vim, and some of the crucial things, so that in case you get stuck, what is it that you may want to do if you want to get out of Vim, right? So no matter what environment you are on, no matter what operating system you are on, in order to start Vim, at your command prompt, at your terminal, enter Vim, just Vim, and Vim would start showing you a blank window where no file has been created here. It's like opening an untitled notepad if you open the notepad on your Windows computer. Or alternatively, you could also use vim and your new file name. For example, vim myfile.txt, and vim will create the file for you and it will open the new file ready for editing. The third thing, if you already have a file, then you just say vim file name, the extension, if you have the extension to the file, and it will open the file in the editing mode. This is how the vim looks like when you are invoking it for the first time. Make sure that you read the information that is shown on the screen, like what is vim, what is the current version, and some of the basic stuff that it's showing. And one of the important thing to highlight there is that it shows you that if you have to quit, then you have to use :Q, enter. Now :Q is something which is very fascinating. So vim has multiple command modes. The modes are something that we're going to discuss in a little bit while, but however, when you start entering text into vim, at that point of time you are something into an insert mode, or you are in append mode, or you are in the recording mode. So there are some modes when you are dealing with vim. So let's assume that you are in the insert mode, where you are inserting the text, you are typing the text. You press escape and press :Q in order to force enter. You could also use :WQ and exclamation, the symbol above your key number 1, to exit out of vim editor. Anyways, we'll see it in practical demo. Few more things I want you to remember before we proceed is, as we saw, that if you have to quit, you have to use Q for quit, or Q exclamation to force quit. In order to enter a command mode, you have to use colon. So be in the habit of pressing the colon key or escape colon, right? If you want to save the file and quit, then you could use :W. So let's say you are in an insert mode, then you want to save the file, like the way you press Ctrl S on your any of the office suites like Word or Excel. In the same fashion, you could press :W. Alternatively, you can also combine these two commands. For example, I'm done with my insert and I want to quit, save and quit. What I will do is I will press :WQ. Now, again, as I was saying before proceeding forward, we should have some basic idea about the vim editing commands. Now, a lot of people tend to memorize these, D for delete, X for delete, char, and things like that. I would urge not to memorize these commands, and the reason is very obvious. If you try to memorize, there are hundreds of commands in vim, and it would become very difficult for you to memorize each and every command, and plus there are more options. So it's not a good idea to memorize these commands. However, I would probably want you to remember these things in an easy to remember fashion. For example, if you know that you want to delete a character, obviously the first letter that should come to your mind is D. Now, if you want to delete a character, you can say X, and it's not very difficult to remember either, right? X like cut or delete, D for delete, obviously. If you want to go back, you can either press backspace, or you can use the B key. If you want to undo any previously done operation, you can use U for undo, R for replace, C for change. As I said, it's very easy to remember: D for delete, X for delete char, B to go back, U for undo, R for replace, C for change. Now, if you want to redo some of your action, you can press Ctrl R or Ctrl capital R, right? Now, these are some of the basic commands that you have to kind of memorize or kind of remember, but that's pretty much about it. Once you know these basic structure, once you know these basic commands, after that I don't think you would have to ever remember any other commands, because the rest of the commands kind of build on top of these basic commands. Again, D for delete, X for deleting a character, B for going back, U for undo, R for replace, C for change, and Control R to redo. Controlling, redo, Control R. Now, is X very difficult to remember? Remember in old days when you were using your typewriters to type the text, and by mistake you typed some word which was not meant to be there, the typist would go back and press XXX on top of it. So it's like deleting that word or deleting that letter by typing X over an existing letter. In the same fashion, you just have to remember that X is deleting the character. Now, one important thing that one should remember, that Vim does not have word wrap enabled by default. Meaning to say, if you are inserting text in your Vim editor, the end of the editor does not show that it is a line end. In order to enter the line end, you have to physically enter the enter key. Now, by default, behind the scenes, every line starts with a caret character or 0, and every line ends with a dollar. Now these 0, caret and dollar symbols you don't see in your editor, you don't see it in your console, but remember the fact that every line begins with a caret and every line ends with a dollar, right? So if you have to go to the end of the line, you press dollar. If you have to go to the front of the line, press 0 or press caret, right? Now, you could always use your arrow keys on the keyboard to navigate up and down the file. However, Vim also has inbuilt HKLG commands to navigate up and down the screen. Now, on arrow keys versus this HKLJ, there's a difference. On arrow keys, you press one arrow key down, it goes one line down. You press the left arrow and it goes one character to the left. You press right arrow and it goes one character to the right. This HKLJ commands can be combined with a numeric value. For example, if you say 2J, then the editor will go to 2 lines below the current line. If you type 2K, then the editor will go 2 lines above the current line. Similarly, if you say 2H, then the cursor will go to 2 characters to the left. If you press 2L, it will go to 2 characters to the right. So it's not very difficult to remember HKLJ. Remember how I remember these HKLJ? 1, H, J, K, L are on all in one line. Second, if you look at J, it kind of looks like a bottom arrow, right? That's how I remember it. And if you just tilt the K a little bit, it looks like an upward arrow. So J is down, K is up. Now L, it's very simple to remember that the lower line of the rectangle, the angled line of L, the horizontal line in L kind of represents that go right, moving towards right. And H, you can always assume that H is like a bow and arrow, where H is pointing to left. This is how I remember, and it's very simple to remember once you know how to just have a mnemonic picture in your mind, and you would be well off, right? So again, H for left, L for right, J for down, and K for up. Now escape is most often used command to change modes or quit an existing mode. Every time you are in an insert or append mode or any other mode, you use escape very often to quit that mode. For example, if you are inserting some text, then you press escape and then type colon and then type Q, then you would exit out of Vim. If you are in the insert mode, you type colon escape colon WQ, it would save and exit. Here on my screen, I am going to go to my git bash. So I am using Windows, but you could use any other on any other platform. You can go to terminal and open the terminal and press Vim. So let's press Vim here. The moment you press Vim, you should see this particular screen out here, like I was showing. Now at this point of time, Vim is in the normal mode, and whatever keys you press, it would not move around. Nothing happening. See, my cursor is not moving at all. Now, and these, blue tilde lines that you see is something that Vim shows to you, saying that these are the blank lines. These are the lines where the text has not been entered. It's basically a null or empty line where nothing has been entered. Now, the moment I press insert, observe the insert at the bottom here, where you would see that an insert is highlighted, hyphen hyphen insert. This shows that Vim is now in an insert mode. At this point of time, you can start entering the text that you want to enter. Okay. Now at this point of time, you press escape and press colon. Look at the bottom where it has taken you to the bottom of the screen, and you press Q to quit the screen. Now here you say no write since last change. So Vim is kind of complaining to you, saying, hey, there is nothing in the text right now, and you're asking me to quit. Are you sure you want to quit? In such case, press escape again, colon, quit, and press exclamation. This is how you show Vim that, hey, I know what I'm doing, so please quit. So you force quit, and you should be back to your command prompt or terminal prompt. At this point of time, I'm pressing Vim again, and I'm entering new file.txt. Now this new file.txt does not exist. So now you see that Vim has started showing at the bottom new file.txt. You are in a normal mode. Now in the normal mode, if you press I, it goes into an insert mode again, and now I can start using my J. Now here I can start using my enter commands. So my text commands or my text files, the body of the text. So hello world, this is enter a new file txt used for demo of Vim. I press escape and see what happens. It came out of the insert mode. Now this is where it is called as that Vim is in the normal mode. Now at this point of time, I can use my arrow keys to go left or right, or I could use my H, J, K, L. So I'm pressing K, it goes up. I'm pressing J, it can go down. I can press H, 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 and it goes towards left. I can press L, 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 L to go right. Okay. Now let's go to the top of the file, and I want to go to the third line. So I would say 3J, and you saw that it went to the third line. Or let's go to the top again, let's press 2J, and it went to the second line from the current line. Similarly, if I press 2K, it goes to the top. Let's do it somewhere in the middle here. So 2J brings it 2 lines below. And remember, see the cursor kinda goes to the beginning of the line. Now if I press 2K again, it goes to the top, to the last position where it was. So some of the good features of Vim that you are going to see here. Now if I have to go to the beginning of the line, let's press 0. If you have to go to the end of the line, press $. There you jump. Another way to go to the beginning of the line is to press the caret key. There you go. And if you want to come back again to the end of the line, press $. Key. At this point of time, let's say assume that you are done with entering text into this file. Let us now save this file. So I'm going to just press W, and it says new file has been saved. So it says new file.txt, new Unix, 4 lines, 58 characters already written. So now you understand why it is W for save, not S for save. The W essentially means that you writing it to disk. So colon W actually means you're writing it to the disk. Now I want to save and quit, so I'm going to do WQ here, and there you go, it quits to the file. Now let us say whether that file was created or not. So I'm going to say new file.txt, and there you go, my new file.txt is already created. Let's see it in the long listing format just for the sake of it. Okay, new file, and it shows that it was created by Abhijit, the size of it, the date it was created, and the name of the file. Alright guys, so this is the basics of Vim to get started. This is the very first part, and we'll see more line editing and word editing commands in the next upcoming parts. But for now, I think this is good enough, where we've learned how to open Vim, how to go up and down, how to get into an insert mode, and if you have to quit and save the file, how do you go about it, right? See you in the next part. As usual, keep subscribing to my channel. See you in the next part.